Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. I often hear this is a terrible market to launch a project, and I think that is a terrible idea. I don't think that it is a bad market to launch anything. It is always a good time to launch a good project. However, this is a terrible time to launch a bad idea. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a Web3 project, NFTs, a cryptocurrency, or just a business in general. During these times when everything is down and people are very weary and protective of their cash, their hard-earned money, then it is always a tough time to just throw out some horrible idea that's going to go to the moon, make millions of dollars like the good times, right? So usually these are the more baked products, the more baked ideas, I should say, that come out during these times. And a lot of projects now are speaking about educational platforms. And some people like to use that as criticism, saying that this is some sort of new buzzword like community. There was liquidity before, then there was all sorts of different things with everyone wanted their token, their play to earn game. And it seems like this is just the next phase. And however, I disagree with that. I don't think that is necessarily the case. That is the new quote unquote trend. Today, we're going to look at some platforms that are coming out. We're going to really highlight them, discuss, and I'll share why I want to see more of these because it is definitely needed in the space. So most of the project that came up on my radar when I first came into the space with ETH had some sort of educational component in their roadmap. That's really what drew me to them. And the first one that I came into was with NFT 365 when he was launching his season pass. Although that came through the Rally ecosystem, that was a sidechain on Ethereum. That was really the first big purchase, if you will, that I came into this NFT space with. And one thing that he kept sharing was he was going to have educations, workshops, and depending on how many tokens you actually own with the ADHD coin, it's going to let you into different workshops and master classes and weekly things. And I was like, okay, this is very cool. So for multiple reasons why this thing caught my attention, but from the back end, we're not talking about all the sales and all the minting and all that stuff that he's doing as a part of that project. If you're not familiar with it, NFT 365, he is minting a NFT every single day for 365 days, and he's going to sell it as a giant mosaic inspired by the Beebles sale the first 5,000 days when all of those artworks that he was creating every single day was sold as in one big mosaic. And of course, that was that massive, I believe it was a $65 million sale that really kicked off all of the frenzy within this NFT space. Now, that project, of course, has some royalty components as far as being able to share the total sales and all that between the founders pass and the season pass holders. However, there was always an educational part of it that really caught my attention, and how he was going to educate people, bring people along the ride that might not have the money or the funds to do all of this. And recently they started doing master classes, which I thought it was just really great. There's different elements that they're touching, security and all areas. However, that is just scratching the surface. When I first came into the 90s babes now, this is a community that I always talk about being the best party on Discord and what have you. However, they had a component in there that really caught my attention from day one, and it was one of the main reasons why I minted it. It was called the Women's Without Wallet Initiative, and I forgot the exact number, but once they reached a certain stage in their roadmap, then they would onboard women without wallets. They would educate them about Web3, how to set up their wallet, tell them about crypto and all these different things, and then going to show them the value of NFTs and gift them their first 90 babe, their first NFT. And I thought that was just an amazing thing, bringing all these women into the space, because this space is primarily dominated by young males. Of course, that is just the generalization. However, there are women, there are children that could benefit from this, and just bringing in more people, more voices, more ideas, more cultures. I think it is just a beautiful thing, and that was one of the things that really caught out. And during that same time when I was minting that, I came across the Crypto Tech Women, and that entire project is all about the educational platform. They're building out a platform just like Code Academy or any of those platforms that the founder Gigi actually was able to learn coding and get into NFTs and crypto and all of this stuff through that. And she wanted to pass on all of that knowledge that she was able to learn, because at the end of the day, she's living proof of this stuff, just learning online and not necessarily going through traditional education and all of that. And now she's building the platform to teach other people. And I thought that was an amazing thing. Even the Bulls and Apes project, which is a 3D project, the first interview I had on the show, Anthony, the CEO of that, came on. And what really caught my eye with that was the money back guarantee. However, the fact that they were going to build out educational platform to onboard different people into the space as they're building out this project, because they have multiple layers. They have the Genesis Bulls, then they have the Teen Bulls, they have the God Bulls, then they're going to bring in the Apes, and in theory, this is just the beginning. They want this to be a show, all sorts of intellectual property. They want to partner with various worlds to bring these characters into the metaverse, because these are fully 3D. So they want everything to be good to go. I spoke about 3D a lot, especially when I interviewed Dr. Doge from the Void community. That was episode number 267. And all of that was just speaking about all the amazing things that can be done with 3D. So the Bulls and Apes project being a full 3D project, that is the aspirations in the direction that it wants to go. But most importantly, the topic of this, the subject at hand, is the educational platform that they're building out. And I saw some clips of what they're filming. I mean, this is a full studio production. This is like, not just holding up an iPhone and just talking some boring things, or maybe running a PowerPoint or anything of that nature. No, this is full lighting, has backdrops and everything, and they're doing everything top notch, world class, and they're going to really roll this out. And I think it is very interesting to see that this project is putting education at the forefront. Now, there's another project that I never minted, but I think I've spoke about it here and there, but definitely something that was interesting was a project called Tribe X. Tribe X was one of those projects that had influencers and celebrities. Actually, the McCourty twins from the NFL, they're part of the project. And it was just one of those things that really just took over social media, and it was going to be the next best thing, going to the moon. However, in the mint process, during that first week, the initial stage, somehow they compromised the wallet and was able to siphon off some of those mint funds, and it really just derailed the entire project. They're doing their best to hold on as a project. They're calling this Act 1 now, so most likely they're going to have an Act 2, and the team was dedicated. They had so much things, but the main focus of this was around that whole thing of it takes a tribe or it takes a village to raise a child. Well, they were going to roll out educational platforms, really just teaching people about Web3 and crypto and the future of everything. And especially in minority communities and very underprivileged communities that might not have certain access to formal education, whether it be just great high schools or going on to college and trade schools and anything of that nature. Well, they're building out this Web3 platform to be able to level the playing field, to help out those people and give those disenfranchised folks an opportunity to excel while things are going good. And this is still the early days. There is a lot of time to not just catch up to the world, but to be leaders. And I thought that was just an amazing thing. Tribe X, I've been in countless of their spaces and what have you, and recently picked up one of them off of the floor, but I'll save that for another episode itself. But then also in episode number 176, I interviewed Somi Arian. She has the FemPeak platform. And that was just a very cool thing to me, just sitting down and speaking to her, all the things that she's been in, travel blogging and all that, and landed in Web3. And now she's educating women for the most part on how to just be a force within Web3. Granted, this is open to men and everyone. However, her main focus initially was educating women. But of course, women have to work with men, men have to work with women, and so forth. So it's open to everyone, not just limiting it. But that was the main focus in the language. And of course, she's a female from Iran, so she knows a thing or two about overcoming certain struggles and what have you in order to reach where you are. And that is what she's bringing on the table. And I thought that was pretty cool. Also, I came across a project called Nas Academy. They're building out a full educational platform as well. They are partnering with various communities, and they're rolling out some token-gated things and really just some great things that they're doing there. They've done workshops and classes, and those are coders and people, with just long resumes of amazing things that they've built and done. And now they're passing forward that information and trying to build the next generation of coders and people that are going to build Web3, smart contracts, and all of that. So I just flew through those. I just, just skimmed down the surface of everything. But the reason why I'm bringing up all of those, and not to say, well, look, all of these projects are coming. This is the new thing. This is what projects have to do. But truly, I believe that education is by far the most important part of this whole process as far as mass adoption and what have you. And just recently, I was looking through some statistics and seeing that OpenSea just had its lowest day in 13 months. And when it says the number of traders or wallets that were active on the platform during that day, it was only 15,000. Yes, 15,000. Now, just putting that into perspective, the average NFT project that was launching during last year was 10,000, right? So that's just one project. And at one point, they were rolling out hundreds of projects per day, right? So at 10,000, but now the lowest day in 13 months is 15,000 wallets or traders. Just putting that into perspective. So we are very early. Not a lot of people are in the space. So education is definitely the key. Unless you want us to just sit around and just trade with each other and, try to, it's like musical chairs or hot potato, right? No one wants to be the last one holding the bag, if you will. And that is not the type of environment that I want to be in. That is not what excites me about Web3, NFTs, and all of this. Definitely, I want to see us move beyond speculation. And in order to do that, people have to be educated. So we're not going to rely on colleges and high schools to do that because they have not been doing a very good job thus far as financial literacy or just anything, preparing us for coding. So much so that some of these major companies, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google, FANG as they called in the financial world, they're now opening to hiring people that don't even have college degrees. As long as you have the coding or whatever skill set that needs to be done, then that's all that matters. And a lot of coders, they learn in boot camps. I spoke about Gigi. She learned from a free code academy, and that's how she ended up working in Silicon Valley, right? And then she learned a lot of things, self-taught, YouTube. So many people I've come across in this space that learn how to code and do things from YouTube. So needless to say that it is not all about college, because by the time those textbooks are written and the 4 years are gone, well, the technology has changed so much. Just imagine with Web3, right? Web3 is moving even faster than your Python coders or your Ruby coders or anyone that was building all of the old infrastructure. I say old as if this was, we're talking about some old cement block things from the 1800s. No, old as in Twitter, Facebook, and Web 2, basically. Those people that built that using those codings and how it has evolved over time, yeah, that was quick. But what we're seeing right now is lightning fast development. Things are changing so quick, and the ink from the textbooks wouldn't even dry before the next iteration. Things have been changed up so much has rolled out. So I think these platforms are an amazing things, these boot camps, everything that is coming out, and these coders, as I was saying, that were coming out and they're learning these skills. All it matters is, can you build it? Can you write this code? Can you do what you're supposed to be doing, whether it be hired for one of these companies, like I said, Facebook, Google, or wherever? They want to know that you can do the job. It is, what have you built? What have you done? Not what your GPA is. Because, yeah, you might have a 4.0 GPA, but if you can't build an application, you can't write coding, it doesn't matter. They don't want you. So there's more emphasis on someone's portfolio of what they've done than necessarily what school they went to. And I think that is the right way to do it. And, everyone learns so differently. There is so many ways. Some people learn with their hands. They learn audibly, visually, videos. Some people have to physically be before a professor learning in a group. Some people learn better one-on-one. Some people, you can just give them a book. They'll sit down. They'll just figure it out. And, so we're all different. And the education industry is just one of those things that is going through a transformation right now. The old model, and I'm not going to go on my usual rants about college and the old educational system, what have you. There's plenty of time. If you keep listening to this stuff daily, I'm sure it will come up how I feel about college. And yes, I went to college. I have a 4-year degree. I went for marketing and all that, but I can definitely say I learned way more from YouTube and Googling and taking these courses from guys like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi and Russell Brunson and all these marketers, right? Than I have learned in my 4 years of marketing whatsoever. And 90% of the things that I learned were not covered in college. So I have definitely been someone who is just gung-ho about self-education, online learning, and these online platforms even before Web3. In Web2, I've spent probably more money than all the NFTs and crypto and everything combined that I've already bought since coming into this space. You combine all that together and probably 10x that in the amount of courses and information that I've bought within Web2. And I still buy that stuff because that information is way more valuable than the $100,000 that went to a college or university or whatever you want to say. So with that said, I don't think this is just a trend, a fly-by-night operation as far as these buzzwords, anything to get into the tweet stream and fly up icy tools, all that. No, I don't think that's what's going on right now. These educational platforms are needed, and I think every single project in one way or another should be rolling out their version of it. Not saying that you have to put out a full production studio like Bulls and Apes project, but at the very least, the founders and the team should be holding little workshops, Twitter spaces, educating people about maybe setting up a ledger, right? How to protect themselves on Discord, things like that. But definitely going forward, I think would be an amazing thing to see the next generation being built up from these projects that are already out, and they're just educating and empowering their communities to do great things going forward. So with that said, I'd love to know, what do you think about these educational platforms? Would you buy an NFT for someone for the sheer purpose of educating them? You want them to get into this project, get their feet wet, understand all this stuff. And the fact that they're offering this, is that something that is going to push you over the edge to help you to make that purchase? Would you side with that? Let me know your sentiments on that. I know there was a lot I just threw at you there, but feel free to reach out to me at Tropic Vibes on Twitter, or the traditional manners. Look in the show notes. You'll see my email address and all that fun stuff. But as usual, I just want to thank you for taking time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later. The Nifty Business Arrow is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.